Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. We've got NBA playoff props for opening playoff day here on Saturday in the NBA with 4 games going on. Early start there out here on the West Coast, 10 a.m. with that Cavs and Magic game. So make sure you tune in early. Also want you to head to thelines.com and use everything that we're putting up on the site there. Got plenty of content coming up about this NBA playoffs and the prop finder tool that I always tell you about, which is very solid for seeing all these odds and juice that you can get back on these NBA bets right in front of you there. So make sure you check that out. Nate, let's go ahead and get right into your first NBA player prop here for Saturday.
Yeah, LeBron James, 25 points, which is available basically only at Bet365. Otherwise, it's been moved up 1 point. But look, I also like the Lakers to cover +7 here. And if you parlay the two results at FanDuel, +170 for LeBron to have 25 and keep the Lakers in striking distance. I mean, I talked about just the spot, the extra rest for the Lakers, so important. And just to come out and this being their best opportunity to steal something from Denver. Denver might be a little rusty here. Denver actually has taken the best shot from a lot of contenders down the stretch and kind of clawed to wins. They've been close. They have not been covering that consistently. But it's more about LeBron. I mean, his career in game ones, this is what he does. He understands that, especially if you're on the road, you can go out and you can steal. Averaged 26, 9, and 7, played over 40 minutes a game in game ones, 30% usage. He's hit this form since the All-Star break where he's averaging 27.5 and 9.5 assists on the season. Extra rest, 2 days rest, 26 points per game. Again, more assists. He's going to be able to get to the free throw line pretty consistently against Denver, which is giving up the 9th highest free throw rate post All-Star break. He's averaged 6 free throw attempts last playoffs, and including good numbers against Denver, but did not shoot well from deep. Throughout the playoffs, 26% from 3, and this year, career high 45% from 3. At damn near age 40, he's just rounded out his game. He mentally is in a great place in terms of what he's able to do out there. I mean, he closed the series against Denver with 40. He played 42.7 minutes per game in that Western Conference Finals. Going to leave it all out there, going to be aggressive. We don't know what we'll get from AD on a game-to-game basis, but in this big game one, which might as well count for a game 6 or 7, if you're thinking about the overall landscape of the series, we've lost 8 straight to Denver, I expect LeBron to come out charging from the tip.
Yeah, I think LeBron is a great bet here. How many games does he have left? How many does he really need to save it for moving forward at this point? I think we do expect him to just bring it. And the motivation factor, there's a few players that you can bank on. With LeBron, there's no more reserving anything in the gas tank. It's just let's get it and go. And I think the best way to do that is transition offense against this Denver defense as well, and we'll probably see that from him a lot moving forward. So I'm going to start it off here with Grayson Allen for myself. I was looking at Nurk as well, but I like a lot of stuff here for Grayson Allen, and it all makes a ton of sense. So I think the best bet is the over 16.5 points in rebounds. But you can also get the over 2.5 threes. And I still think you can still get -110 for the over 2.5 threes, which I thought might even climb up to 3.5 at some point. But maybe the recency stuff for him, because that last game that they played, where he played 33 minutes, he only took 4, but he still made 3 for the threes that he shot against them in this last game. But he's all over the place, man. He's the perfect prototype for how you can really bother this Minnesota team. I think, he's big enough to go down and can leap high enough, more importantly, to go down there and get rebounds. We've seen him get both times he's gone over this 3.5 rebound prop comfortably in the last 2 games and 3 of 4 this season. The first 2 that he played, he still wasn't quite getting the usage that he is now. He was at about 28 minutes a game. Now he's up to about 33, right? More than 32 for sure in between there. And that he's in the starting lineup, he's in the closing lineup, and they're no longer afraid to take him off the floor when they do go small, right? There isn't this, I have to have multiple bigger wings like Okogie and Royce O'Neal, that kind of thing. He's played with them in those closing lineups, and in those lineups you mentioned when we talk about Phoenix and Minnesota in the other video, the best bets video that we have up, we talked about how the size, the ending of the game, and really the going small for Phoenix is something that like you'll probably see some of that again from Frank Vogel, like mixing it up with the big and small with Rudy, not just going one or the other way. But the 3-point attempts, the reason I actually like the points and rebounds a little bit more than the threes made is just because of the attempts. Like if they do decide to just run him off the line as best as possible, and what I believe that'll mean is between Cat and Rudy, somebody's not going to be out there maybe for the closing minutes or for some key minutes during this game where they can't afford to have one of those two dudes guarding one of Grayson Allen, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, right? Like, and they're going to get caught at some point with that. And that's a huge reason. Once again, if they have the Royce O'Neal lineup out there as well, now you're just talking about smaller dudes that are going for rebounds. He had in these last couple games, he was up at about 12 to 13 rebound chances as well, pulling down 8 and 6 of them in that time frame. And so there's a lot of like boxing out going on because his rebound chance percentage was very high. And what I look at there is the rebound chance percentage for Nurk and even for guys like KD and Royce O'Neal, not quite as high, but they're boxing out the dudes that they need to box out so that Grayson Allen can run in and get those boards. And the offensive rebounds are a thing that like I do think he'll have an opportunity to get in there and mix it up on those offensive rebounds as sort of the forgotten guy standing in the corner where you can get some threes off versus this Minnesota team, as we saw him do in the last game. So I think the sheer usage and the fact that they've come to rely on him as like a 32, 33 minute a night guy. And if that rotation does shorten up at all, I don't think he's the one at all that's losing those minutes. So I like the usage, the volume, and the amount of shots that he's taking against this team consistently.
Yeah, I mean, the threes seem good here, but I think you gamed it best to get the best odds here with the points and rebounds. We're really just tacking on about 3 rebounds in a game where he's expected to play 30-plus minutes. But yeah, I mean, Mike Conley was kind of victimized defensively, and maybe they throw him on Grayson, but that's still the easiest matchup you can get against the Wolves, or Cat being completely out of position is another good matchup for Grayson, who can put it on the floor. Is not just, I mean, he led the league in 3-point percentage, but he's also fine driving to the basket. Like, and he will make plays. This will be an interesting chess piece for Frank Vogel to deploy here in a series that's going to be full of some chess moves for sure. I am sticking in this Denver Lakers game. Apparently, one more pick here, which is Jamal Murray. Over 10.5 rebounds, assists, started at even money. It's still minus 108. And if you want to go full PRA, you're going to have to go up to 35.5, add 25 points for him, which is just fine. I mean, he's scored a ton, especially in game ones last year. He averaged 29 points per game, also 6 rebounds and 8 assists. And he averaged 11.5 of these peripheral stats at home this season, or since the new year, in just 32 minutes per game. But in the playoffs last year, he played 40 minutes per game. Like, obviously, he's on the floor just as much as Jokic, and is now kind of taking over, more stagger role, right? Where he's taking over the non-Jokic minutes and facilitating, and tons of potential assists in those opportunities. Post All-Star break, we're talking 11.2 potential assists per game. So it's an 8.4 adjusted assists per game for Murray, who's averaging 6.8 actual assists. But now going against the Lakers, who are given the second most assists since the All-Star break, 29 assists per game, 4th most assists to point guards on the season. And they're going to be a little jumpy about Jamal, aren't they? I mean, after he averaged 32.5 in the Western Conference Finals last year and torched them twice during the regular season here, they're like, they got to get out on him. And then he's going to be able to beat them off the dribble and spray the ball out for more potential assists. He also averaged 6.3 rebounds in that Western Conference Finals. He's, kind of underrated as a rebounder. Very, very good size as a point guard. Certainly more size than D'Angelo Russell if that's his matchup. And while the Lakers are a good rebounding team, I think against this particular position, they could be vulnerable there. And in general, they just play it with enough pace that there should be rebounding opportunities if you're going to play close to 40 minutes a game.
Just to ask you a question, do you not like the points quite as much? Is it too high for you?
Just going through his playoffs game log, he's gone over this in 16 of 20 playoff games. He has not gone over the points as consistently. Like, when you look at a guy, like, does he actually, like, I asked myself that question, does he actually not get the points but then get the peripheral stats? And with Murray, it does happen pretty frequently. He will land on like 24, 23 points. So I think the points are a little higher than I'd like it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I don't like to predict when he's going to go off, but once you get to the playoffs, especially, remember last year when it was like he actually had more assists in the finals than Joker. That was a popular bet among people, was like person to lead the finals in assists, and he had like 4 games in a row, right, with 10+ assists for that Nuggets team. And I think that could be another sort of angle in theory that's something that he kind of does when he turns into playoff Jamal. I was asking about the points because he is also a really good prototypical pick and roll ball handler who they give up a ton of points to that. There could be some focus on Jokic for him to hit above the break stuff in there, where the Lakers are just awful and have been for a long time because D'Lo is getting like 35 minutes a game, to be perfectly honest with you. Maybe that's not the case with like maybe a little bit more Gabe Vincent. Not quite sure how those playoff rotations will work yet with the health of those guys, but he's going to have a good matchup either way. And I have no problem with the rebounds and assists. I think the points in this series, I think he's going to go over more than he goes under for sure with those points is my prediction against this awful Lakers defense up top. So I'm going to close it out with my namesake, Josh Hart, and I'm going to take the rebounds, which is an insane thing to say because it's 10.5, but like, it's not just that he turned into a rebounding monster and the Charles Barkley of the NBA, if you will. It's also that he is ripe for this opportunity against a Philly team where, like, I talked about with Grayson Allen being available to sort of get rebounds as Nurk and company were dealing with Rudy Gobert down low and some Cat and even some Nas Reed down there. Same concept here for Joel and everybody else down low is that Josh Hart is often the forgot about man especially on those offensive rebounds that he loves to attack and get. In Philly, 5th worst defensive rebound percentage in the league. And before you just like jump on me about that, as I mentioned in the other video with the Knicks and Philly, who we both like the Knicks to win, and I also like an over in this game. But Josh Hart rebounds based on like going in there against that terrible defensive rebounding team with Joel been almost, if not just as bad, to be honest with you, in terms of the defensive side of the ball and getting those rebounds. Like they were in the bottom 10 as well when Joel got hurt last time. So that's not as much of a concern for me. But you look at who needs to get boards against a team like Philly, and it's going to be like athletic small forwards, dudes standing either out on the wing or down below in the corner for those corner threes, which is, look, Josh Hart doesn't just stay in one area of the court. I don't think he stops moving for the entirety of the like 42 minutes that he's probably going to see in this one. But that's a big part of it too, is the minutes. Like it's now like you thought Tibbs was going to run dudes in the ground during the regular season. Like, get ready for it. If they're up 30 in the fourth with 5 minutes left, I would not be surprised to see the starting lineup out there for the Knicks. So, but the rebound chances, right? So 23 of them a game, not in 1 or 2 games, but in 4 games, he averaged 23.5 rebound chances against this Philly team because he's just flying at the rim, especially on the offensive side of the ball, like I said. And then on defense, if you're Hartenstein or Achua or whomever, like there's a couple things going on there. One, once again, you are busy boxing out one of the biggest behemoths in the league in Joel Embiid, and then it doesn't necessarily always give you the time and strength and energy to go get the rebound. Other concept, Joel's going to take, if he's at all healthy, at least 17 shots in this game. And I think we should probably bank on more than that, plus the fact that he'll go to the free throw line 8 to 10 times as well, which is just another bunch of shots that then the dudes like Hartenstein and Achua, even Mitch Robb, when he gets out there, they're incurring in fouls. So they need to rotate a lot more, which means now it's still them just dealing with Joel, and that's their focus, which allows Josh Hart to get in there and lead the team in those rebound chances. Plus, he's going to play twice as many minutes as these dudes, as Hartenstein and company are going to get. Maybe Hart gets 26. It's really also matchup based now, and a little bit of just who's the hot hand. Precious Achua been kind of knocked out of the rotation, not playing many minutes with Mitch Robb back anymore. It's just the 2 bigs for New York. So there's never really going to be 2 on the floor at the same time to steal those things from Josh Hart, because like I said, Achua's just kind of gotten bumped for Mitch Robb coming and getting those backup minutes. But yeah, this is like you look at his rebounding profile and courtside pal that I love to talk about. You look at like small forwards getting rebounds versus Philly in the top 10 of that. So yeah, there's a lot to like about Josh Hart crashing the boards and some pretty good juice for him to get the 11 rebounds in this one.
This is maybe the reason why I was giving you guff about the over, is because, like, if this is a Josh Hart game where he's grabbing 12 rebounds, you really expect this game to be going over? Like, no, maybe if it's like an overtime game or something crazy like that. But no, that would be total Knicks basketball, where it's just like extra possessions. Like, nobody can make a shot, but Josh Hart flying in from the weak side, like extra possession here. Like, we could see something like that for sure. Are you interested in Josh Hart plus 155 to out rebound Embiid in the series, to be the leading rebounder for the entire series? Oh yeah, just
yeah.
Well, then run, don't walk to FanDuel and place that one, because Embiid, I don't know if he has the energy to score as much as he's going to score and also grab a ton of boards here.
Not to mention, how surprised are you going to be that he misses at least a game in this series. There's a just, I mean, it's almost 50-50 that he, plays every game available in
Oh
this
yeah, and
series.
that's total rebounds. Yes, I should clarify, not average rebounds.
Right. Yeah, total rebounds, exactly. So that's going to be a big deal, I think. And I think I do like that. I will. Luckily, I don't have to run or walk to the window because I can do it online. But yeah, we'll get some bets in on that. But either way, that's all the time we have for you in this play of props. Appreciate you guys following along. Continue to do so. Coming back to you each and every day that we have playoff basketball moving forward. So until we see you next, happy betting.